Hello, hello. How are we all doing this evening? You smell fish paste with wizard hat. Now that's just not very nice, Zap. I smell nothing of fish paste. The hat maybe. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream, everyone. So, you could probably tell by the description today's going to be a little bit different. So a little bit of background just before I get started here. The only experience I have DJing up to this point is all kind of self-taught, right? So I got this controller several years ago. I will show it to you once I get the hand cam stream going. And it's been kind of something that I could just use in my spare time. I used to put together a couple mashups back while I was in college. And you know, it was pretty fun stuff. You know, I was discovering a lot of new music. That was when I first really started getting into electronics. So I'm like, oh, let's see how much I can put this together. I didn't really start making like DJ sets until after I graduated. And even then, it wasn't anything that I was really investing a ton of time in, right? It was only recently that I started kind of picking it up again, started really trying to kind of, yeah, RadTuber lore, exactly. Yeah, only recently did I start trying to get better at being a DJ. So this is kind of the next attempt at bettering myself, increasing my toolkit. Yeah, just trying to try something new. Want to use it to add a little bit more flair to my DJ sets. I kind of like to start with showing you an example of kind of what I'm going for, someone who's very inspirational to me. So I'm gonna, and throughout this stream, I'm gonna pull up a couple different tutorials to kind of practice, to kind of try and get some certain things down. There were a couple videos that I already discovered that I've already kind of been practicing on that I'd want to work on, but yeah, I figure we could all kind of go through some of these tutorials together. So with all that said, I do want to kind of start off with showing you a little bit of what I wanted to go for here. How do I look? Okay, I think that's appropriate size. And I should be able to just pull up YouTube as soon as it starts playing. Oop. Okay, so that music should be coming through. Where are you? There we are. Let me know if it's too quiet, too loud. Looks like it's coming through fine. Yeah. Gonna lower the volume a bit. Okay, so this is Dave Tipper. He is a DJ out of the UK. He's been doing this for quite a while. And he's one of my favorite scratch DJs to hear live. One, because the tunes he plays over are always a good time. They're always very wonky, very bouncy. A lot of fun to dance to. And then he's doing shit like this over it. It's great. Love it. Yeah. But yeah, I won't linger on this too long. Great DJ. One of my favorites. Absolutely love him. So yeah, and he's kind of the reason why I even wanted to get into scratching in the first place, right? So the style of music he plays, I mean, his style's evolved a lot over the years. I'm gonna just throw out random terms, right? The style that he was kind of playing there is it's a variant called glitch hop, which I like to think of as kind of hip hop with a bit of like a, I don't know, a glitchy kind of bouncy feel to it. Typically around the 100 BPM range. In my opinion, it sounds amazing with like DJ scratching over it. And that's kind of the style that was at least my biggest inspiration as a music maker. Most of my songs are kind of trying to evoke that kind of glitch hop feel. The song that I was playing at the beginning, Hidden Colors, is glitch hop and is probably my most directly inspired by Tipper, other than maybe High Noon. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to go for here. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and start pulling up the other pieces here. So as I mentioned, this is a hand cam stream, so there's my DJ controller. This is a Gemini G2V. This is a bit of an older controller, and compared to what's coming out nowadays, I think it's very I'm not going to call it obsolete, but it's very outdated, I would say. But, I mean, it has all the basic tools you really need to do DJing, right? It has your two jog wheels here, all these different cue buttons, all of these volume sliders, crossfader here, pitch bend, these knobs you can use for effects. The software I use is called Virtual DJ, so you can actually map pretty much anything on here, but especially these guys to a couple different things. They could either be your EQ knobs, they can also... you can also use these to turn your drums up or turn your... Can you use that DJ set to play BattleBit? It's a very good question. I haven't tried yet. I'm actually kind of curious now to see what I can do. I was about... It would impact LeBron's legacy in an amazing way. Yeah, can you imagine LeBron getting his ass whooped in BattleBit by a guy with a DJ controller? He would never live that down. I'm gonna lower myself just a little bit here. 1 second. There we go. There we go. That way chat isn't just across my face. So yeah, this controller, I got it... What year is it now? 2024? I think I got this controller like 11 years ago, if I remember properly. Yeah, it definitely would have been in the middle of college. So I really like this. If it looks a little dirty on camera, it's because it has been collecting dust a little bit. I only recently kind of brought it out of storage and started tinkering with it again. But yeah, whenever I do my DJ sets, this is what I'm using to do it. So with all that, I've got a couple other pieces to kind of include here. One, let me see if it comes up. Oh, there it is. Yep. So what you're looking at here is just a small section of my virtual DJ software. I guess for completeness, I could show what kind of the fuller picture looks like, right? If I go ahead and expand it, you'll see. Essentially, this is just showing you like what song I have loaded, what it looks like from a software perspective, right? Whenever I adjust anything on the controller, I'm adjusting the pitch bend right now, you see that it adjusts in the software as well. I mean, I think that should be pretty straightforward. If I adjust the crossfader, that adjusts too, right? So, but what I really wanted to only do for this stream was kind of just show this little window here, for a couple reasons, right? One of them is it's actually going to be helpful for me to be able to see, if I switch to this view, where the sample starts and ends. That way I can know whether or not I need to kind of pull back a little bit further or go, or maybe not, I'm not going far enough. Also shows me like what's happening with my crossfader, but also still preserves the whole kind of like view of the controller itself. I'm mostly going to be working in this channel for this matter right now. Yeah, so I think that's enough prep right now. I'll go ahead and jump into kind of the first video that I wanted to go through. I don't know how much I'm necessarily going to spend looking at these videos directly. I might jump around a little bit depending on how I feel the pacing is going. There's a couple really good lessons, I think, in some of these videos early on that I want to go over. So let me find the first one. Okay, DJ Blighty was, I think, the first video that I started watching. Yeah, this guy. Okay.
I'm DJ Blighty. Who the hell are you?
Great intro. Very, very nice.
Hello guys, welcome to DJ Blighty TV if you're watching for the first time. Today's video is something that I've been asked a lot of times on the channel, in the comments. I've had a lot of messages, emails regarding this subject.
Also let me know if the background video is too loud, too quiet. I can adjust as needed.
Covering the basic techniques that you need and also the sounds that you need in order to be able to learn how to scratch
quality
properly.
rave
Let's
music,
get
huh?
into that right now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the sounds that you need. Now, the sounds are very, very important, because if you're trying to...
I'm just going to pause this to say I absolutely love the idea of being able to make music that feels like I'm in a different lifetime, you know? I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I even got into music making in the first place. Yeah, I'd be open to do some nice four on the floor type rave stuff. Glitch hop is kind of the stuff I'm mostly interested in, but I absolutely want to learn how to make music of all different types of genres.
Scratch with the wrong sounds, it's not going to sound good no matter how good your technique is, no matter what. Okay, so what we're going to look at is where to get your sounds and your samples. If you're a member of any sort of record pool, especially DJ City, you'll find that they have a lot of scratch packs. You can also look on Google if you type in sort of scratch samples, things like that. They're quite easy to find. We're going to look at using basic sounds today. The classic R sound, which sounds like this.
I'm going to pause it right here because this was actually, I think, the first major lesson that I learned. Not all samples are created alike, right? So everything you start with is going to affect how the rest of your sound goes with regards to scratching. So the very first thing is you need to find a good sample to start off with. So what he was suggesting there is one of the most classic sounds, so classic even that I have it loaded on my DJ controller as well. So that's the sample I'm going to be using for practice. And I'm actually noticing that a ton of DJs are also using this sample in all their tutorials. I think that really speaks to just how ubiquitous of a sample this is, and just how, I don't know how to quite say it, but I think it's so classic in the sense that there's a lot of possibilities on how many different sounds you can make it. It's kind of like the amen break, right? It doesn't matter how many times you hear it, like, you could just play it in a slightly different way and it seems fresh all over again. That's my 2 cents, at least.
Okay, so it's a nice easy one to use for practicing what we're going to go into today, which is the baby scratch. Now, this is a tutorial aimed at beginners who've never really scratched before, or if you've just had a little go and you're not really sure what you're doing, this video is aimed at you. It's not an advanced tutorial. If that's what you're looking for, sorry, this video is not for you. So we're going to get into the basics of which sounds to use. Now, we're using the R sample today. However, as you go further down the line, you don't just need to use scratch samples. You can actually find sounds from songs, as long as it's a clean sound. By that, what I mean is there's no other sounds attached to it. So if you're using a kick drum, a vocal, a snare, a clap, a hi-hat, any of those things, as long as it's just one sound and you've got a little bit of space in front and behind it, you can use that however you want to. But if you've got a lot going on, it's not really going to sound great. So that's why today we're demonstrating using scratch samples, which are just clean one hit sound samples. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Which equipment do you need to be able to scratch? The answer is pretty much any DJ hardware. So
so what he's using on his table is called a CDJ. So the cool thing about DJing is, unlike being in a band or anything like that, you don't always need to travel around with all the equipment you need. I mean, yes, the bigger DJs tend to, right? Especially if they've got like their own custom light setup or their own custom like sound routing and shit like that, they probably will. But if you go to just any old club or venue, there's probably a pair of CDJs just lying around. And you can just you basically just take your USB and just plug it right in, and bam, you can start the party essentially. So, the downside is that CDJs, at least to my knowledge, are pretty expensive. I definitely don't own it. This controller that I have on here, I think I got it when it was being sold for $250, and I think the price has since risen to like $350, if I remember correctly. But CDJs can easily go for the thousands, and I mean that's kind of how professional audio equipment in general goes, right? It's one of those types of things where the more money you sink into it, usually the better quality product you get and the more you can do with it. So there are like CDJs that have like 4 channels if you want to just like mix 4 different tracks at a time instead of just 2. Or there's just a ton of different effects with it. It's the sky's the limit with that kind of thing, right? But yeah, what he's getting at, and I'm not going to let him continue to talk too much on it, since I do want to get to the tutorial here. But he does make an interesting note. I don't know if he actually does it. I know a few DJs do it in some of their tutorials. There is a setting inherent to a lot of these DJ controllers called curve. And without kind of spending too much time talking about that, basically, when you do movements on the crossfader here, you can actually program your controller to do different things depending on where in the crossfader you are. So in the default cases, typically, if I have it all the way on the left side, then you're not only going to hear stuff from the left, right? You're not going to hear anything from the right. But if I start sliding it more towards the middle, the closer I get to the middle, the more of the right channel you're going to hear. And the sound on the left channel isn't changing at all. It's still loud. You still hear the left channel, like, the same. You just hear more of the right. And then once you get to the middle, you hear both at the same time, right? It's the same volume on each set of channels. And then as you go more to the right, you start decreasing the volume of the left until you can only hear the right. So that's the default programming, right? There is a special setting called Scratch where you adjust this setting called Curve, which basically says instead of that gradual increase in sound, make it such that the second this is no longer all the way to the left, I hear this one full volume. And that's where you really get kind of the ability to do cool effects on this, where you can quickly cut your sound off and pop it back on. And I'll get to that in the tutorial as well. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this video a little bit. Let's get to when he actually starts scratching.
What I've got here is, you can't quite see it in the shot, but the pitch fader is all the way down to the -8% mark, and that means
that's
the
right.
sample is playing at its slowest possible rate. You can slow it down.
I'm going to go ahead and slow my pitch also.
Slow your sample right down to the slowest you can.
He's saying slowest. I'm just going to do 8.4.
Queued up, so we've got
doesn't really matter
here. Cue point 1 right at the beginning of the
done.
sample. Alright, now that cue button is going to do exactly the same thing for me. So what I'm going to do is just literally grab the platter, and it's set the cue point at 12 o'clock, and that means that as soon as I press that forward, that sound is going to be there.
So one very quick difference too between his DJ controller and what I'm using here. I don't know if you could quite see it in his video, but you'll notice that when he plays a track on his channel, you can actually see the disc on the controller start spinning around. Right, okay. So this cannot happen on my controller, right? I can just like let the sample play out continuously, but nothing is actually happening to the jog wheel there. So it's unfortunately a bit of a it's a limitation of the controller, right? It's a beginner controller. It's not meant for you to do super crazy funky DJ stuff. It's enough to get you started, right? And that's actually part of the reason why I also have the scratch on here, so I can know if I go forward how far I need to go back, right? So yep, just wanted to kind of highlight that there.
Okay, so what we're going to do is literally look at moving the platter back and forward. How you hold the platter is entirely up to you. It literally does not matter as long as you stay within, if you imagine this is a clock face, if you stay within 12 and 6 p.m. to the left hand side, you're going to get the maximum amount of control. If you were to try and hold it, which I have seen some people do on the right hand side, it's just not going to be as comfortable or as maneuverable. You're not going to have much room to move as effectively. You've got a lot less control if you hold it on that side. So we're going to hold it on the left hand side of 12 and 6 wherever you're comfortable. You can use 4 fingers, 3, 2, even 1, whatever's comfortable for you. Just have a little mess around with it and see what works for you, okay?
Yep.
Now what we're going to do once we've mastered that,
I think usually 3 works.
is literally just look at moving the record in this case platter, forward and back in a motion where you're trying, your aim is to get it going in a rhythmic pattern, so you're constantly moving it at the same speed and the same amount as well. So you want to be doing that. You want to keep the same rhythm and the same momentum and the same timing, so it's just constantly forward, back, forward, back.
He might say this in the video, I don't know, but that technique is called baby scratch. It's the simplest thing you can do, and it's even just the baby scratch. If those who are like really good at DJing know that they can like just adjust the speed and that completely changes the sound. So they're like, hang on, let me see. This is exactly what we're practicing. Yeah, so like I could do it fast and it sounds high pitched. I could do it middle, it sounds somewhere lower, and then I could do it slow and it's very low. Maybe I'll play that drill too later. That was a good video. I enjoyed that one.
Forward, back, forward, back. You're never going to get it spot on, but keep it as tight as you possibly can. Keep doing that until you're bored out of your mind. You will get bored doing this, but that's the one thing I learned when I was learning to scratch. Patience is really the key, because if you haven't got patience, you're not going to be able to do this very easily unless you're a master judge. Yeah, just keep doing that back and forward until you're comfortable with how you're holding the platter and how you're manipulating the sounds, which is
try 2 fingers.
Sounding pretty much the same. Okay? What I want you to do is keep on practicing that with no music at all until you feel comfortable with how your control is more than anything. So you're holding the
Yep. So yeah, that was the baby scratch, as I mentioned. And obviously, like, what he's suggesting is really good because, one, it teaches you to get a feel for your hand on the jog wheel, right? I'm going to tell you right now, everyone, I'm already feeling this in my hands. So this goes, you get this with learning any musical instrument, right? Your hands or your fingers will let you know that you are working them, right? The more you do it, the more your body can like accommodate to it, and you get that muscle memory and all that. But when you start off, you do not have that. So, but yeah, he's doing 2 things. He's, one, teaching you how to take your hand and contact the mat with it. It gives you a feel for like the amount of pressure you want to put on it, because it's like you don't want to like jam your hand on it, but depending on how you hold it, it might give you a different effect. Like, yeah, you can experiment around a little bit. 1 finger's not good. I usually like doing 2 or 3. And then it's also to teach you, like, to get a good rhythm, right? I mean, like, that's probably the #1 thing I think that makes a good DJ is, like, your sense of rhythm. I mean, shit, I'll go ahead and admit here live on stream, right? When I'm mixing between 2 tracks, I have a sync button here that lets me kind of easily align beats. The experts definitely do not need that. I do plan eventually to get good enough to teach myself not to use sync, but I mean, until I get that point, I mean, I like being able to produce mixes. I don't mind kind of being able to align the beats automatically for me. But again, the major goal of this is to teach you good technique and also like have you come up with your sense of rhythm, right? So I probably should also note I am a classically trained musician. I spent, oh gosh, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I spent about 12 years of my life playing the violin, I think. Yeah, I haven't picked it up in a long-ass time. And I never really delved into anything like rhythmic. It was always melodic until I started making electronic music, right? Drums are one of those things that always interested me, but I never really got the opportunity to explore it. But no, violin has been my life for a long time. I fooled around a little bit on guitar, a little bit on bass guitar as well. I'm one of those people that likes to collect a bunch of random instruments just for the sake of being able to go, like, maybe I'll learn it someday and get, like, decently good at it. So I have, like, a ukulele, I have a didgeridoo. My parents got me a banjo that desperately needs to be restrung. It's not here at my apartment right now, but just to kind of give you an example of the types of things I like to explore and do. But yeah, that was a long-ass tangent. All of that to say, like, I have some musical training, but I guess rhythm is one of those things, like, when you're in an orchestra, you have a man or a woman standing up in front of you, holding a stick, casting spells on the orchestra to get them to follow along, right? They're known as a conductor, and basically they are in charge of making sure that the orchestra kind of stays in rhythm with each other. And they do other things as well, right? They can just stipulate, hey, I want it to be louder here, or I want it to be quieter here. But their main goal, or their main purpose, is to keep rhythm across the orchestra, right? Because if you don't have someone doing that, you could very well end up in a situation where everyone is unable to synchronize with each other. Obviously, this doesn't happen for extraordinarily talented individuals. They can all play very well by themselves and keep good rhythm. But it's one of those things that, like, again, kind of years and years of kind of building this format, this way of making music. It's a very long-standing tradition, and not only that, I don't know, I think it looks good. Like, have someone come up and just start the orchestra up. I think it's neat. But all of that to say, you usually have someone keeping rhythm for you, so you don't necessarily need to do that yourself. It's recommended you do, and everyone in the orchestra is typically like keeping rhythm in their head as well as looking up at the conductor so they can adjust as needed. But this is something that requires you to really keep the rhythm yourself. And that's a tough thing to do, I think, if you're not really used to that. So, yeah, exactly as he's saying, right? Use this as an opportunity to kind of get that basic rhythm intuition. I think he spends most of the rest of this video just kind of practicing on like a pretty famous hip-hop beat. So I think I'm probably going to end this video watching this tutorial video here. Let's go ahead and find a different video. There's a drill video I want to play, but I don't think I want to necessarily start with that. Who did I want to go to next? Okay, how to scratch creatively by learning these basic patterns with no crossfader. This is DJ Liftoff. This is actually a pretty good video because it's kind of going into what I was talking about earlier, where you can do some pretty creative stuff just using the scratch, like the jog wheel itself, without even adjusting the crossfader. So let me get into that here in just a second.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DJ Liftoff with the JP Way, and you don't want to miss this flight.
Don't want to miss this.
In today's video,
No.
I'll be showing you all how perfecting a few basic scratch patterns with no crossfader at all will help you learn how to scratch much more creatively when you actually do use the crossfader and when you're not using the crossfader in general. So with that said, let's hop right into it. All right, DJs, the first thing you're gonna do is load up the Serato scratch sentence.
He's gonna do it.
Whatever
He's gonna play it.
sound that you would like to use on one of your decks. You're gonna go ahead and hit the play button so it's playing. And then essentially all we're gonna do is perfect these different scratch patterns or these different scratch
movements. It's the same
movements.
sound effect.
And then at the end, we're gonna put them together, and then we'll talk about how it helps when you are going to use the crossfader. But for this, obviously, we have our crossfader in the middle. This is gonna be our first scratch pattern. And again, we're gonna wanna perfect all of these one by one. So we're gonna start off with just a baby scratch.
Yep, same sound.
Next, after the baby scratch, we're gonna move on to the scribble.
Yep,
All
scribble.
that is two quick baby scratches. And then you really wanna get this as fast as possible, as well as clean as possible.
This is the type of stuff that works out my fingers,
Sometimes I like to lift my hand up a little bit like this. And then I'm always holding my platter as lightly as possible. But lifting this hand up does sometimes help with the speed. Next, we're going to go to this.
Yep,
And if
that's
you've
what I was
seen
doing earlier.
some of my previous videos, I've definitely showed this before. You're pretty much going fast, and then medium speed, and then slow. So being able to do this just shows a lot of hand control. All of this is essentially helping your hand control, and you'll see how it all comes together in the end. Okay, next we have this. As you can see here, all I'm essentially doing is a baby scratch first. And then we're doing just like a push forward or a forward scratch. And then we're pulling back slowly. You really want to focus on pulling that back slowly. Again, this is all about hand control. So quick, this is like a quick motion. Everything is quick besides that last pullback. And And as you can see, if you look at my hand, it's kind of going from like an upwards position on the fast baby scratches and the forward scratch. And then I kind of flatten it out when I'm pulling back slowly. So again, I'm kind of high up when I'm going fast. And then whenever I'm moving in a slower motion, I'm flattening my hand out and I'm pulling back slowly. Now, the last two that you're going to want to know is just simply you're going to be doing a forward scratch and then pulling back slowly. And then you're going to be going forward slowly and then pulling back fast. So going fast forward and then, or the forward scratch fast, pull back slow. And then the opposite direction as well.
Good.
Now, each of those scratch patterns and techniques that we just went over, all of those have something in common.
I got kind of close to
what
making
that
his sound.
is your hand never leaves the platter. So like the baby scratch, the scribble, the different hand movements, as you can see, as you perfect those, your hand never leaves the platter. Now, the last thing you're going to want to practice is actually dropping your track right at the beginning of that sound. Now, I still like to come back a little bit before the sound, even when I'm dropping something on the one. So it's definitely going to take some practice. All of this stuff takes practice. So essentially, for this last one, this is what we're going to be doing. So all you're doing here is you're pretty much doing a forward scratch where you're letting the platter go forward, you're catching it, and you're pulling it back. Forward, catching it, and pulling it back.
There we go.
Kind of quickly. As you can see, I'm not necessarily pulling it back right to the beginning of the track, but I'm coming back a little bit. So when you're dropping it on the one, as you continue to scratch more and more and more, you'll get the feel of how far you...
1 second, everyone. What is going on with my controller? Interesting. My DJ controller didn't want to grab that. Let me try a couple different settings here. Wow. That's so weird. My jog wheel did not want to grab that. I don't like that. That's not supposed to happen. Oh no, are we live streaming the the destruction of my DJ controller? To be fair, like I said, it is outdated. I probably need to get a new one soon, but... Hang on. What are we doing here? Come on. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Okay, I got a theory. Let me, Oh gosh, I think I might know what's going on. If it's what I think it is, that's gonna suck. I think what might be happening is I think I'm actually doing too much on my computer, which really surprises me. Let's take that off. Interesting. Okay, well, that kind of sucks. So the problem that I'm having here is that I'm supposed to be able to stop the sample as it's playing just by grabbing the jog wheel, right? But the fact that I hit play and it doesn't automatically like roll, notice how there was a bit of a lag there. I think that's due to just there being too many tasks running on the computer right now. Okay, what can I do in the short term to kind of clean up some of these tasks? Let me try a couple things out. Gosh. I do want to do like a little bit of practice here, but I'm starting to get concerned that I might not be able to do everything that I wanted to do. Okay, I mean if that's the case, like it's a learning experience. But that's a little disappointing. Wow. Okay. I'm going to try something else here. Let's try turning the hand cam off just to see if that makes things a little bit less intensive. Here, I'll go ahead and put Virtual DJ back up too. Wow. I'm sorry, everyone. I think, I don't know how I'm going to be able to go forward here because... Yeah. That's insane. Okay, this is a really good thing for me to learn, though. I think I've actually hit the limit of the amount of processes I can have on my computer in a recording situation. I'm making alien beats. Yeah, there you go. Yep, I'm the new DJ Khaled. Okay, everyone. I think I'm gonna have to adapt this plan a little bit. So what I wanted to really get at was the stuff that involves you moving this, but unfortunately, because I can't actually play things and just have them go forward, I think I'm a little limited on what I can actually do with it, which sucks. Overclocking your PC. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to, I think, at this point. I don't think I'm gonna... Yeah, DJ Khaled overclocks his PC. That's how he gets such great beats. He also plays BattleBit, huh? Learn something new every day. Okay. There's a couple things more I can do. I think I can learn how to chirp, probably. Let me go ahead and do that. DJ tutorial chirp. Okay, I haven't vetted this video, so we're all going to be seeing this for the first time together. This is a DJ name. I love this name. Scratch Bastard. What a great name. Let's see what he's got going on. And look, he's using the same sound too.
And welcome to Scratch School. If you've been here before, welcome back. We appreciate it. And if you're new, thanks for finding us. Make sure you visit scratchschool.com for our DJ Fundamentals series and get started there. Today I'm going to go into a scratch that some of you had asked for me to go into further detail about, and that is chirps. We'll get into what that's about in a minute, but make sure you do go check that DJ Fundamentals series to get a basic knowledge of it first. Now let's get down to business. What are chirps? Chirps were named after the sound that they make as a scratch. They make a sound sort of like...
Oh, you're making bangers soon. I'm already making bangers.
A bird chirping. Cheep, cheep.
Ha.
This is done by moving the record back and forth, typically in a fast fashion, and catching a little bit of the sound going forward and a little bit of the sound coming back. Sounds kind of like a bird, right? Now this is a scratch that I would call like a rhythm or a feel scratch. It kind of doesn't make sense. In a sense, this hand has to be moving a little faster than this hand shutting it off, and then this hand has to move first before this one comes back. But if you're thinking about all that stuff, it's probably not going to sound right. You have to do it just out of a feeling and get comfortable with it so that it happens naturally. Don't think about it too much. One thing that I think in my head when I'm doing scratches is that my hands are going to move away from each other, almost at a consistent speed. Remembering that you have to move the fader off a certain distance and move the record back a certain distance, you kind of have a little bit of that room to catch the sound as it goes forward and as it comes back. Sometimes I exaggerate it and make my hand go way over there. Just to get the feeling right. And remember with all scratches,
That's kind of cool.
To do it
that
very,
feels a little
very
extra,
slow at first,
but I appreciate it.
And then try to incorporate it into like a slow beat. If you can't get the scratch slow, then you probably can't get it fast. Let's try it with a beat. Now speed it up. Now get funky with it. So just remember that chirps is a feeling scratch. And if it doesn't feel right, then we've got to assess what's wrong. Remember.
Actually, I like this tutorial. I feel like it's the most straightforward expression of it, just being able to like, oh, think of it as like two kind of separate motions you're doing in parallel, and shit, that idea of exaggerating it was kind of nice. It's just the speed, right? My fingers. Like I said, my fingers are already feeling it, so it's probably not a bad thing that I can't do too much more on this. Shoot, let me just... Yeah, that's really unfortunate. There was one other move that I wanted to kind of briefly go over. Oh,
that scratching is equal parts record hand and crossfader hand.
Let me see if he has the other. Yeah. Is that him again? Perfect. The Transformer. That was the other one I wanted to go over.
What's up?
What's up?
This is Scratch Bassett, and welcome to Scratch School. Today I'd like to talk about the Transformer Scratch. Now the Transformer Scratch is kind of what I would call one of the secondary scratches, which is kind of like second after Baby, or maybe the second wave of scratches, where DJs really started to work with the mixer and the record to make new innovative sounds. The Transformer Scratch got its name because it kind of sounds like the sound of a transformer changing shape in the cartoon. It gets this sound by playing the record forwards and backwards at different speeds while turning it on and off with the crossfader. Watch.
Are you seeing that finger motion in his hand?
Kind of sounds like a transformer, right? And that's
just
the general concept. The two things you're going to have to work on...
So I'm just going to pause that. Just that ability to do it that quickly boggles my mind, you know? Because that's... I've been trying to do that, like the... Oh my gosh. What he's doing is he's basically... I'm pretty sure what he's doing is he's using his thumb here as kind of... I've heard it referred to as a spring. Basically, you always want to be able to take this back to the right, but then he's using his fingers to go boop, 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 and he's just hitting it enough such that it opens it up. So it's like... Here, let me exaggerate it a bit. Yeah, like, but he's doing that all as a fluid motion with his hand. And really talented DJs can do this thing where they take all their fingers and kind of drum to make it sound really fast. I don't know how they're doing that. It's just, that seems so difficult to me already.
Here are your crossfader hand movement, making it quick and precise.
Yep.
And your record control hand, making sure you're at a good point in the record to have a good sound to scratch. Let's try it over a beat.
Yeah, that's tough.
Those are dope.
That's the general idea, though.
Okay. You can leave that part in there if you want. The hardest part of the transform scratch to get down is the rhythmic movement of the crossfader.
Yep.
This makes all the difference because when you turn the crossfader on, that's what makes the transforming noise. So you've got to get good at turning it on in rhythm. One drill that I've developed or used over the years is having a continuous tone, or something like a Serato noise map on a control vinyl, that plays forever, and then you can just sort of practice turning it on and off in rhythm. And you can see where your mistakes are, or where
That's
you'll need to
really
work on
smart,
something.
actually.
Now this doesn't sound very good, and don't try it at shows, but when you're doing the scratch practice, I find it really effective. Check it out.
I bet someone can make it sound good at a show. God, yeah, just throw a beat under this. Call it a day.
You can do this over a beat, or you can do it with no beat. I find
I've
it a
definitely
really good
heard
way to
trap
gauge
songs with
what
that kind of lead
tempo
before.
and how precise your transform cuts are, and it will help you decide whether you need to improve on your thumb holding it back, or your tap, which is tapping it on and making the noise. You'll find a good balance, and it's a good drill to run.
That's Morse code trap right there. I love it. Face of Malcolm, Terberry, thank you so much for joining. It is good to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Yes, so today we are doing some DJ scratch practice. I have since learned that I think I'm running too many programs on my computer, so I can't do everything I wanted to do, but that's okay. Opportunity for me to show off my DJ controller, and yeah, but welcome. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. So, okay, we just finished going over the transformer type scratch, and I actually liked his suggestion a lot, just playing like a single type of tone or a single noise that you could just do that. I just don't know if I have any... I'm trying to think if I have any samples. Yeah, hand and model cam. Yeah, no problem. I'm just trying to think if I have any tracks where I can do that type of thing. I'm not going to spend a ton of time looking. Let me just quickly poke around my local music here. But yeah, Barry, I hope you're having a wonderful evening so far. Let's see. Trying to think of songs I have that just open with like a sustained note for a long time. You're vibing. Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay. You know what? I actually think I have a song that'll work for now. More so in the sense that it's Globulars. Yeah, it's basically a long intro to a song, right? That doesn't have a ton of like percussive elements. It's mostly just kind of vibing with sounds. Let's see whether or not I can just do some very simple... It's a very simple transformer behavior on this. Oop, did not mean to do that. This is 42 by Go Globular. God, now I feel like I can get it. What the hell? I think part of the challenge is that I feel like the way I'm holding it only works for my DJ controller, right? I feel like if I were to attempt this on a different controller, it would feel completely different. Okay. I actually like that drill a lot. I'm going to remember that. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, and before you joined, Barry, I'm probably not going to be able to do a ton of the release method, which is where I just let the sample play and then I pull back. I think I just have too many programs going on my computer. But what I would like to try doing now, I'm going to go ahead and skip the drill. Maybe I can go ahead and in a future stream, depending on how well I'm able to get that going, what I might do is return to this and try that drill. I really like it. It's what I've been using kind of daily for practice. It basically just goes through all of the different types of like techniques with the same beats, just playing for like 12 minutes. I'll probably link the video or something. I think I'm just going to come up with links for all these videos probably, just in case anyone wants to kind of follow along or try them out at home, in case you have your DJ controller lying around or whatever. But yeah, what I wanted to do was kind of just practice on a beat here. So I'm going to pull up my library for scratching. And I'm going to pull out this song here. It's called Jelly Fizzle by Danny Breaks. And yeah, we're going to see... I think we'll go ahead and just do some really basic practices on this. So let me try one more time. Just hopefully it works. I don't think it will. Yep, so I couldn't rewind it. Okay, so we're going to be doing very basic stuff. Let's go. Trying to get a little creative here, but I can't because of the limitations. Sorry. Actually, very curious to see what happens when I do this. That's the end of that trick. Oh god, my hand's feeling it. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, I was playing around with a couple different styles. You could tell how hard I was kind of trying to do that thing, but even that's hard to do. Definitely got to work on my coordination here. I've noticed something about myself where it's hard for me to... It's going to sound silly, given the fact that I've been playing stringed instruments for years. It's really hard for me to kind of separate the activities between my left and my right. But again, it's probably just because I don't have that muscle memory, right? I mean, these things kind of just take practice. So, yeah, that's okay. I will get better at this. Yeah, the stream's only been going for an hour, but honestly, that was kind of most of what I wanted to show here. I feel like I'm probably not going to be able to get too much more down here. Yeah, I'm personally okay with this being a bit of a shorter stream today. Appreciate all of you who stopped by to kind of check this out. I think this was a really fun experiment. What I'll probably do is I'll come up with the links to all the videos that I showed here. I'm also going to share that drill that I was mentioning, the 12-minute one that goes through all the different styles. I'm hoping the next time I stream here, I'm going to be able to do a lot more with this controller, because I am a bit disappointed that for whatever reason, I just can't play it. I think it's because of the fact that I'm streaming right now. So, which kind of frightens me, because I want to be able to do this kind of thing, like, DJing live, right? Like, I don't want to have to worry about, like, what my samples are doing. So, yeah, I'm going to mess around with it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm probably... Yeah, I'm not going to do it on stream here. Maybe I'll do, like, a bonus stream this weekend or something where I, like, mess around with it. But, yeah, I think that's all for now. Appreciate all you stopped by. Thanks for checking this out and learning with me. I hope you got some out of it, even if you're not DJs yourselves. Yeah, I hope to do many more of these kinds of streams. I had a good time here. Like I said, my fingers are feeling it, but that's building muscle memory, baby. So, okay. Hope you all have a good rest of your night or good morning, depending on your time zone. I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and find someone to raid. Who we got here today? Oh, Sevilla Alipsos is streaming right now. Let's go ahead and give her a raid. Give a minute here for the ads to go through. Oh, duh. Did not mean to show it on my screen, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and take the hand cam off. I'll keep the hand cam up. Manage stream, raid, Sevilla, Lipsauce. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. See you guys next time. Take care.